What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $1,400 third stimulus check update and third stimulus package update. We're getting very close to the finish line and the final passage of the $1,400 stimulus checks, $1,400 for children, and $1,400 for adult dependents and college students, as well as the other things that are in this bill, such as the $3,000 to $3,600 expansion of the child income tax credits, which are going to be paid out in monthly increments or monthly checks to parents of $250 to $300 per month per child, as well as an extension of the unemployment bonus money to $400 per week, and will go until the end of August, as well as an increase of SNAP, WIC, and EBT programs. Also, $30 billion for mortgage assistance, rental assistance, property tax assistance, and utility bills, all sorts of different things in this bill. And I'm going to give you the latest details, so make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free, so you don't miss out on new updates. We're going to hear directly from the Senate, both sides, and we're going to hear about a new proposal from a Republican for $10,000 stimulus checks. Yeah, from Republicans. Yeah, that one was a shocker. I'm going to give you all the details in this. Let's get going. Don't forget to hit the like button. And first, we're going to hear from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on the third stimulus check package.
Now, on Senate business, Mr. President Pro Tem, the Senate will have a busy week ahead of it. Today and tomorrow, the Senate will confirm two more members of President Biden's cabinet, Dr. Miguel Cardona to serve as Secretary of Education, and Governor Gina Raimondo to serve as Commerce Secretary. The Senate will also confirm Dr. Cecilia Rouse to serve as the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, another history-making pick who will be the first black official to head that department. All three nominees are exceptionally well qualified. All have received bipartisan support in their respective committees, including a unanimous vote in favor of Dr. Rouse. As we continue the fight against the pandemic on all fronts, in particular the damage it has caused our schools and our economy, these nominees will have a difficult and important task ahead of them. It will be very good news once we have them confirmed and on the job. The Senate will then return to the American Rescue Plan, comprehensive legislation that will help us crush the virus, recover our economy, and get life back to normal. Defeating the pandemic is national priority number one. Getting our schools to reopen as safely and quickly as possible, helping small businesses hang on until the economy can come roaring back, keeping teachers and firefighters and other essential employees on the job, providing aid to the jobless, food to the hungry, direct cash payments to millions of Americans struggling with the cost of rent, groceries, medicine, and utilities, speeding the distribution of the vaccine, which is the cornerstone to ending this awfully dark chapter in American history. That's what our country needs, and that's what the American Rescue Plan will achieve. To paraphrase Franklin Roosevelt, we must do the first things first. Last week, the legislation passed in the House of Representatives. This week, the Senate will take up the measure. Let me say that again. The Senate will take up the American Rescue Plan this week. I expect a hearty debate and some late nights, but the American people sent us here with a job to do, to help the country through this moment of extraordinary challenge, to end, through action, the greatest health crisis our country has faced in a century. And that's just what we're going to do.
Now, we still don't know the final detail of whether or not the $15 an hour minimum wage is going to be included. Honestly, we're seeing a lot of information both ways. We're seeing a lot of articles that they're going to take out the $15 an hour minimum wage. It's dead on arrival. They're not going to be able to pass it with it in there. However, we also have Senator Bernie Sanders, who's the Senate Budget Chairman, saying that he wants to force a vote either today or tomorrow, including the $15 an hour minimum wage, to see if it passes with it in there. So honestly, we could go either way. However, Republicans are not very happy about this in any regard at all. Remember, this passed the House of Representatives on Saturday morning without a single Republican vote. And well, here's what Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has to say about that.
Now, another matter, at about 2 o'clock on Saturday morning, House Democrats rammed through the bonanza of partisan spending they're calling a pandemic rescue package. Only Democrats voted for it. Both Republicans and Democrats voted against it. Last year, under a Republican Senate and a Republican administration, Congress passed 5 historic coronavirus relief bills, 5 of them. Not one of the 5 bills got fewer than 90 votes in the Senate, or less than about 80% over in the House. But alas, this time, Democrats have chosen to go a completely partisan route. Even famous liberal economists and liberal editorial boards are saying their half-baked plan is poorly targeted to what families need. So we've gone from passing COVID relief with 80% and 90% bipartisan supermajorities last year to the Speaker of the House ramming this through with just 50.7% of the House on Friday night. The bill contains all kinds of liberal spending on pet projects with no relationship whatsoever to pandemic relief. Well, Madam President, it didn't have to be this way. We could have built more practical policies to help the American people move forward. Some Senate Republicans literally went down to the White House to propose that both sides work together like we did 5 times last year. The administration declined. So this is where we are, a bad process, a bad bill, and a missed opportunity to do right by working families.
So, yeah, Republicans basically want no part of this bill at all. And even if they have to remove the $15 an hour minimum wage from the bill completely, it looks like we probably still will not get a single vote in the Senate, or probably the House for that matter, from Republicans voting yes on the third stimulus package bill. In fact, they just basically don't want to pass it at all. And if we hadn't seen the Senate change hands to the Democratic Party and Mitch McConnell not be the Senate Majority Leader where he could send bills like this to his graveyard, we'd be having a very different discussion today. In fact, if this bill had passed the House and Mitch McConnell was Senate Majority Leader, you could bet your bottom dollar that he wouldn't even put it to a vote. Very similar to we seen as the Cash Act that was passed, like I think it was at the beginning of January. That is when President Donald Trump, at the time he was president, said these $600 stimulus checks are not enough. They need to be $2,000. This came directly from Republican President Donald Trump at the time. That then passed the House with the Democrats leading the charge on that. They got a bunch of Republican votes. And then Republican Majority Leader at the time in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, didn't even put the bill to a vote. And a lot of people say that that cost him and the Republicans the Senate because he simply didn't even put it for a vote. It probably would have passed. You would have already had the $1,400 stimulus checks in your pocket, and this would probably be the 4th stimulus check that they were working on in this package. May have been a little smaller, or may have been another $1,200 or $1,400. Who knows at this point? But you would have got the 3rd stimulus check over almost a month and a half ago at this point, and they probably would have had the 4th stimulus check in this package right now. So regardless, that probably cost Mitch McConnell the Senate, as a lot of people say, because literally they had the Senate runoff races about a week later after Mitch McConnell tabled the bill and sent it to his, quote, graveyard. And we just didn't vote on the bill, even though it passed the House. And that was a standalone bill for $1,400 stimulus checks. And well, we know that a week later, the Republicans lost both of those Senate seats by razor slim margins. Had they have won either one of the two, the Republicans and Mitch McConnell would have retained the majority of the Senate, and the Republicans would control the Senate right now. We'd be having a very different discussion right now on the 3rd stimulus check package, if not all that would have happened. However, we do have at least one Republican that has a brand new proposal for $10,000 stimulus checks. Yeah, kind of crazy. As you can see here, Republican Representative Paul Gosar has submitted a last-minute amendment to Joe Biden's huge coronavirus package. He wants to send out $10,000 stimulus checks to all Americans and get rid of all the other fluff in the bill, remove all the other money, and just simply send out $10,000 stimulus checks to Americans instead of money for this, that, and 400 other things. As you know, this stimulus package would allocate billions of dollars to vaccination efforts, testing, schools, state and local government, and emergency jobless unemployment benefits. But now, Republican Representative Paul Gosar has submitted an amendment which slashes the non relief spending, all the other programs basically, and to instead give Americans $10,000 stimulus checks instead of spending money anywhere else, including vaccines. He told Fox News, quote, I offered an amendment to prioritize $10,000 stimulus checks to Americans most affected by the virus and the lockdowns. He says, quote, instead, Democrats chose foreign aid, big tech transit, and Pelosi's political priority over direct relief to American citizens. The amendment calls for cuts to funding for vaccine confidence activities, foreign aid, arts, federal, and corporate transit projects. Gosar submitted the plan in hopes to show that Congress could give more cash to U.S.'s most financially vulnerable people by removing the non-virus funding. He added, quote, people need help with car payments, mortgage and rent, and everyday necessities. Quote, the government broke it. Now the government must fix it. The people, not corporations or billionaires, need this money to survive. He went on to explain how a $10,000 stimulus check should be considered a, quote, down payment, but the amendment was a non starter with House Democrats. Wow, wouldn't that be crazy? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. This really didn't gain a lot of traction, but the problem, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, $10,000 stimulus checks would be great, but the problem is it literally is nothing, no money for anything else at all, period. Just literally nothing. Just take the entire package, $1.9 trillion, and send it out in stimulus checks. So, I mean, in a way that would help out the economy tremendously because people would have cash to spend on their rent, their food, their mortgage, buy discretionary things, and really just go out and just return life to normal. And I guess a lot of that money would come back around. Now, money like that wouldn't go to vaccines or distribution or anything like that because that money really doesn't get spent. The government pays for that. And really, the money wouldn't go to schools either because, well, there's no way the schools would get that money when you go out and spend it, but it would help out a vast majority of Americans, and the economy itself. So that would be a really interesting thing to see. It does show a good thing that we have some Republican support for more stimulus checks in the future. However, we did see Paul Gosar also vote no on the third stimulus check package. He said the reason he voted no was due to all of the money not going to directly combating the virus. But if you take away all the money for everything else and just send out stimulus checks, well, you're not really sending money to combat the virus either. That's more of helping the people and combating the economic crisis. We're seeing a lot of headlines about how Republicans are saying that 9% only of the money is going to combat the virus. And you have to be very clear with what they're saying because that's kind of like you look at a card from one side and you don't really see the whole picture. So what they're saying is that 9% of the money goes to directly combating the virus. Now, when they say that, they're not really saying that. What they're saying is they're voting against it because only 9% of the money goes to, defeating the virus. But in reality, the stimulus checks, the unemployment checks, the money for mortgage and rental assistance, the money for SNAP, WIC, and EBT, the child income tax credits, all that money is going to you guys. That's all going to the people. Okay, they're not counting that money because that doesn't directly combat the virus. Okay, $1,400 stimulus checks doesn't kill the virus. It helps Americans. Okay, it helps with the economic struggle. It helps with getting our economy back. It helps with people paying their rent, their food, utility assistance, mortgage assistance, the child stimulus checks. I mean, so they're not counting that money. So if they took away that money and only did the money for combating the virus, I don't think very many people would be happy. So when you hear that 9% figure and again, I'm not bashing Republicans or I'm not bashing Democrats, and I don't really see things from either side. I see things down the middle. But when somebody says that 9% of the money is going towards COVID related activities, they're talking about like distribution, vaccines, everything that literally goes directly to killing the virus, like mostly vaccines, okay? They're not counting money for schools. They're not counting the money for you guys. If that was the case, if they only wanted to spend that money, you wouldn't get the stimulus checks. You wouldn't get the child stimulus checks. You wouldn't get the SNAP, WIC, and EBT. You wouldn't get the unemployment money. You wouldn't get the mortgage assistance, utility assistance, rental assistance, all the things that I will be helping you claim once they pass this package. So you really got to take that with a huge, huge grain of salt. When I see that figure of 9%, it kind of makes me shake my head because it's kind of fake news. But I mean, of course, you can make your own decision and let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. But if they were passing this package on just money to combat the virus, there would be not a dollar in this package for you guys. Okay. There'd be no stimulus checks, no anything along those lines. And I think there'd be a lot more people mad if that was the case than is the case now with the current package they're spending. If anything, probably the most money is going to you guys. I mean, we have the checks. Those are, I think they're like, that's over three or $400 billion just for the checks alone. Then we have the child income tax credits, which is an increase from the previous $2,000 child income tax credit that was basically championed as an increase from previous, it was as low as $500. And that was done through President Donald Trump at the time and Ivanka Trump. She got a lot of credit for it. Now Joe Biden wants to increase that to $3,000 for children over the age of 6 through 17 and $3,600 for children under the age of 6. So again, you wouldn't get that. You wouldn't get the $1,400. You wouldn't get mortgage and rental assistance. There would be no more unemployment bonus. It would stop here in the next 2 weeks. So I personally think the package is pretty good because it goes towards everything. It goes towards helping the vaccines, the distribution, paying for them. It goes to helping schools, even though they don't really need the money right now. They will need the money in the future. It goes a lot. I think the majority of this money is going to you guys. Like I said, we just mentioned all those things that is going to the people. And more importantly, is that it helps the people, but it also helps the economy because they give that money to the people. It's not debt. It's not owed back. There's no interest on it. It doesn't need to be paid back. And then people go and spend it in the economy on restaurants and on rent and on food, their car payment, paying for clothing for their children, which then goes out into the economy and helps our businesses keep employees on the payroll and prevent them from having to lay off people. So really, it's kind of a whole cycle that I personally think is pretty good. But you can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. So don't forget to subscribe down below. I will keep you updated on when they're going to vote on this. I actually have some big news that just came across my desk that I will have for you guys in the next 2 episodes. The next 2 videos will be at 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribe down below and click the bell icon after subscribing to all notifications to get notifications when we go live. And share this video with your family and friends so that they know what is going on with the next stimulus package. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have dozens of students that have replaced their 9-to-5 income selling products on Amazon, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.